Hey guys, you want to see how I use this old laptop, a USB adapter from Tactrix, a tablet, and a PC to tune my truck? Well, I'm going to get into it here now. Hey guys, today I'm going to give you a quick rundown on how I basically touch up the tune on the truck every once in a while. Now the program I'm running is called Carberry 4.2. Most of you Subaru guys have heard of it. If you're not a Subaru guy, you've probably never heard of it. But basically it's a updated firmware program on the engine computer itself, derived from an old JDM Rallycross programming that they used in the actual stock ECU of the car. Subaru's always kind of been pretty good with the stock ECUs. Even today, you know, most people still use the stock ECU with an access port or something, but I'm still old school. I have a 2002 WRX ECU in my truck and the purple truck, and they both run the Carberry ROM. And basically how it works is it just breaks down all the stuff you would want to tune in the ECU. Your launch controls is a new option. I got an engine light that knocks or will blink when I'm getting knock. All the flex fuel stuff's in here. Speed density. I mean, it's a very powerful thing for being 20 years old. Oh, well, Carberry's not 20 years old, but the ECU's 20 years old. I can do all my boost targets, boost limits, all my fail safes here. I can change pressure sensors. I think right now I'm running a AM Cobb-ish 4-bar sensor, so you can scale that in here. You change your closed loop. I still have closed loop or open loop fueling. I can change which one it prioritizes. I can scale injectors, change how much fuel it gets when you start it. Tip in, decel. This is overrun to some newer guys. Warm up, learning. I don't use AF learning. My wideband hasn't been reliable enough to use that. And then speed density. This is basically where I make fueling changes. Now you got two. You got your base one. That's for pump gas, and then you got map 2. And that's for ethanol. And then this little guy here tells you which one of these flex fuel. Up here I can set up different curves. So if you wanted boost to come on faster than fueling, then you can set up a number 2 and say, hey, I want full boost at 50% ethanol instead of, you know, 70% ethanol, like if you'd use curve 1 for fueling, because it lets you set up linear curves or non-linear curves based on what you want to do, which is a nice feature. It's actually a really nice feature. So your boost doesn't have to follow a linear curve. Like at 50%, you might you can run full boost if you want, or you can set it back to you only run full boost at over 80% ethanol. It's all up to you or the tuner. But now you're wondering, like, how do I know what to change? The speed density table I've been working on a long time. You can see these. This is ECUFlash. You can do this in ROM Raider too, but I've just gotten used to using ECUFlash because I open it and then I flash it right. This program will open it, edit it, and flash it back to the car all on its own. I've been learning what the GM with the LS stuff. You need like 5 different apps to do this. But these little changes here I made are just some cruise stuff. I noticed I was watching AFRs while I was just lightly cruising down the road the other day, and I noticed that they weren't quite right. This ROM was initially tuned by me, and then once I got over 500 wheel horsepower, I took it out to Nate at TPG, who ran on his dyno and tweaked it timing, the ignition timing map, stuff you can't do on the street, to really dial these in. Trying to get the most power out of them, learning, do you have too much ignition time, you're just wasting cylinder pressure, or not enough, you're raising EGTs and wasting power. So it went on the dyno, it tuned it up, but that was when it was on 450 fuel pump with 6 AN lines. It did make 519 wheel horsepower, I think, on E70, but it was starting to lean out up top. I ran it like that for a while, and then I noticed towards into the summer, as ethanol contents got higher and I started getting into the 80%ish, 82% ethanol, it was really getting lean up top. So obviously I had to fix that. I put in twin Hellcat 525 pumps, also known as the Walbro 470s, and then I put in 8 AN lines and basically revamped the whole fuel system then. And what that did was completely screw up the ProTuned efficiency table. I mean, I was way over VE'd on most of it, and that's because it was trying to make up for the lack of fuel pressure up top. So I've done all that. Well, basically I focused on up top stuff at first because it was a priority, and then now I've kind of let it go for a while, but now lately I've been focusing more on the drivability stuff. And even though fuel pressure is the same, I guess the flow, maybe the 8 AN lines, the whole map became too rich. So now I'm leaning out areas. And how I noticed that is I run an app called BTSSM. On this tablet. That is, some of you guys have probably seen it in the truck. It's not connected now, so I gotta manually connect it. Select vehicle. Okay. And these are basically the gauges I run all the time. As soon as I start the truck, the USB input senses the extra power and automatically runs this program. And then also on the steering wheel, you'll notice I have a little green button down there. I push that when I want to log something, and this screen will turn yellow, but you can change the color. You can do whatever you want, but it saves it into the program, into the tablet. And then this is a 5G tablet, so I can upload it whenever. But if you don't have the 5G, once you get on Wi-Fi, you can go to, what I use is Datazap, and then from there, oh, didn't want to do that. Gotta hide my login real quick. From there, you can hit upload log. I'll just use the top one, CSV, and then I can go in, hit browse, files, and basically my recents are right here, and you can upload that. And go back to here, and you get a log file. I don't use the tablets really to update the logs or look at the logs. I'll go onto the computer because you just uploaded it. And basically, like this one here, see it, 2,000 RPMs, 5.7 pounds of absolute pressure. Now that's absolute, so it's actually like -7 PSI. It's in vacuum while you're cruising. I'm at like 12.5 AFR. So I look at that. I've also recorded a couple different versions. Is this weird? There's another one here. Where'd it go? Notice on this version at 3,000 RPM, pick AFR. Pick absolute PSI. Must be another one. It's still lean here, or rich here too. So I go on my little guy here, and I say, alright, at 3,000 RPMs, let's say I was a 71 VE, I'm too lean. You can calculate it out. You know, you take your AFR divided by your VE, and then you use that as a multiplier for the 71. But I found that to not be too accurate. It always seems to be too much. Like 12.5 or 12 divided by might be like 15%. If I took 15% off of this, I'd be, let's just say, around 60, and then I'd be way lean. So I found out it's about half, but I kind of just fudge it. Let's say if I'm at 12.5 AFR rate here consistently, and I want to be at 14.5, 14.7, depending on the fuel I'm using, and I might drop that to like 66, like I did above. So that's just how you do it. It's a lot of playing around. I mean, more experience obviously would help. You know, you run this, you can run it through some programs. There's some spreadsheets out there and stuff, but I never use them. I just, you know, I have the computer, I got the Easy Logger, I have an ECUFlash, or I just trial and error. I just constantly kind of playing with it. It gives me something to do. And then, so I've made these changes. I'm actually going to work on this a little bit. I've never noticed this. I don't like that at all. But they, oh, there's like a weird spike here. I've interpolate that out. And then once I save this to a new file, we'll go down into the garage and I'll show you how I put it on the ECU. All right, I'm back. Basically this is a Tactrix cable. Now your guys use OBD ports obviously under the dash. Mine is right here. It's upside down now because I use another one for logging. I actually use this cheap one for logging. It's the one that's connected to this. Because this Tactrix cable is not cheap. I don't want to leave it in the car all the time. This will not flash your computer, but it will read it and log it, so that's why that's in here. Now I take, basically once I have that in, there's green connectors on the O2 ones, but I've done this so much that I've put a switch here that connects the ECU, and as well as a fuel pump shut off. So I shut off my fuel pump, I turn on my ECU green connectors, and then basically I go here, I hit right image, I hit, on this car each one's a little bit different, I have to hit OK here first, and then I turn the key, and it'll pick up the ECU and just start writing this image or this file to the computer. It just overwrites the one that's in there. Doesn't take long on these old 16-bit ECUs. And that's it. Alright, so that's in there. Turn the thing back off, turn the ECU flasher back off, read write thing. And I would normally turn the fuel pump back on, but now I'll show you how, when I turn the key. Hang on. What's that? Still had the thing pushed in. I don't know what it did. Alright, I don't know what I did. But the fuel pump's on. I'm gonna pull this one back out. I'll plug this one back in. And it will connect eventually. Probably not now that I already had the thing on. I'll turn the key on. Oh, whatever. It's grumpy. But it normally connects to the ECU automatically. You see now I'm at 70% ethanol. The wideband just it quit working a while ago. I guess I need another new sensor. Probably like the 6th sensor I've had to put on this stupid thing. But that's how you do it. And then, like I said before, when I push this button here, it will start logging. Oh, the engine has to be on, that's why. But I'm in the garage, not turning it on. But when I push this button, it'll start logging. I upload that, and I use the computer to make changes. If you guys got any questions about anything or need any links to stuff, This is just an Android tablet with BTSSM app, the Tactrix Openport 2 cable, ECUFlash. Everything but the cable is pretty much free. And this app, I think the app was $5. Any questions, let me know. Thanks, guys.